Welcome to another episode of the Call Your Mother podcast. I'm Mary Ellen.
And I'm Megan, a mother-daughter duo here to talk life, love, and lessons with a whole lot of laughs.
Every week, we'll dive into real conversations from two generations, two perspectives, and one big heart.
We'll share stories, swap advice, and maybe even get a little teary.
Okay, probably me. But don't worry, we always find our way back to laughter. Let's face it, life's messy, but you don't have to go it alone.
Let's get into it. How are you? Feeling very
good.
sunny and bright today in your
Oh my
yellow
God.
top?
Yeah, so there's a story behind that. We actually went out on a friend's pontoon boat this weekend, which I have to tell you, pontoon boats are pretty cool. It's like being on a comfy couch on the sea.
You know what we call pontoon boats?
What?
Because James's parents also have one for the lake. They
Mhm.
call it a wave potato.
Ooh, a wave potato.
Yeah. Because you don't really like go that fast.
You don't. This
Right.
one only went 35 miles per hour.
Right.
But it was enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyhow, so we went. And then shortly thereafter, I don't know what happened. It was like a light switch went off. We are now in Sweatville. I know, we thought we're heading into the melt season. So we thought that it wouldn't be like this until after Memorial Day. And nope, this week has been, the humidity's coming back. So we are in it, but we're in it to win it. This is why people have pools in Florida.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm in my farmer gear
You sure
because,
are. You're looking good.
thank you. I'm coming from the farm and you probably could see it's green. It's a green overall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like green. And ironically, today we were pruning cucumbers.
Okay.
So I decided to take all the little baby cucumbers.
They do look like cucumbers. The first one you pulled out looked like a jalapeno.
Eat them because of the size. But I put them in my little pocket and I
Can you
was
eat
just
them?
Oh, yeah. But the best part is they're really, really good. That we also grow dill. So I took like a sprig of dill
Mm-hmm.
and I was eating the dill with the cucumber. And it was really fun. And I was just like, I feel like a pickle today because I'm like wearing all green, eating my cucumber, my dill. So today I was Pickle Meg.
You are so funny. You're like, I'm just going to go into my overalls and grab a snack. That's funny. Okay, what are we talking about today? What's today's episode all about?
We're talking about parenting.
Oh gosh, this is
Wow.
this is a big one.
I know. So we'll take our time and we will go through it. I can't speak a ton about parenting because I am not a parent.
No, I think you can. I have an angle. Because I do think that even people that maybe don't have little humans practice parenting.
Okay. Well, that's good. So I guess to get started, I would
Mhm.
love to know from your perspective, Mom, what did you feel? What were the emotions that came through you when you found out you were going to be a parent?
Super excited. I was super excited. I was super excited to be like, oh my goodness, we're having a child. And then going through the pregnancy was just, it was that whole like progression of, oh, this is so great. Oh, my stomach is getting bigger. Oh, and then like halfway through it, then it was like panic because it was like, oh my God, there's only one way out. And that whole like realization, and everybody goes through it, but that whole realization for me was like, ugh, like, okay. And you know the story. I mean, I won't go into super detail, but like I probably, with you, I probably gained about 65 pounds. I was
Mhm.
huge. I was huge. Did not find out. We did not want to find out what the sex of the baby was. So everybody kept telling me I was having a boy.
Mm.
I went to the hospital 2 days after. I went to the hospital 2 days after the due date and was sent home with Braxton Hicks. And I was so upset I made your father go through the drive-through at McDonald's and I ate a 20-piece McNugget by myself. I'll show them. Yeah, so that's what I did, went home, and then the next morning my water broke and that was it. And we were off and running.
But not
And
quite. But not quite.
well, off and running, everything was great. My epidural wore off. You really, again, we talked in the other episode. You liked to, like, with the bag and the packing and going anywhere, and in your crib, you like to build a cave.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, straight from the womb. Like, you were like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. We literally, like, at one point, I think the nurses brought up the term forceps, and I started freaking out because all I could think of was my girlfriend from college, and she had a little bit of a scar because she was delivered through forceps. So, of course, I was
Hmm.
arguing with the doctor and the nurse. I'm like, are they steel? Are they plastic? Like, like I was like freaking out. And then when I finally delivered, they're like, "It's a girl." We were like thrown because everybody kept telling us we were having a boy, and we thought it was a boy, and all of a sudden,
Right.
as they said, it's a girl. It's like, whoom, I see you, and you're like, like you were just like, I'm here. Like we took you out of everything else. Everything else was moving except you're like, you didn't get the memo.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, but that was and then like being overcome with like you have to take care of another human being. And then it's not just physical, but then the mental part of it, right? As kids get older, as you got older, the talking, the walking, the learning, the shapes, the colors, the this. It was I think it was overwhelming some days, but other times it was amazing. Yeah, I was pretty excited.
And how about when you knew you were gonna have AJ?
Well, when we knew we were going to have AJ, we did find out um, the sex of the baby, and they said, "You're having a boy," and I still didn't believe. So I was like, "That's great, thanks. I'll see it, I'll believe it when I see him," kind of thing.
Hmm.
And you know what? That was awesome because he was kind of like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm out." Like
Yeah. AJ was ready.
AJ was like, I don't think I was in labor for 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, he was just boing. And we had the same Gigi at the hospital was the same nurse that delivered you. And actually, the day that AJ was born, Gigi was getting celebrated as the delivery nurse of the year at the hospital. And so she was like, she left and she said, "Don't do anything." She wanted to, and she did. She made it back just in time. And so I'm very fortunate. I had the same delivery nurse for the both of you, and I had the same doctor for the both of you that was there. And
Wow.
so yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool. So, has anyone, and this could be like even before you were a parent, but has anyone in your life influenced your parenting style? Was there someone in your life that you were like, I really like the way that they're doing it, and I kind of want to take pieces from their playbook?
I think before you have kids, you have an idea of a family, but you don't necessarily have the idea of the type of parent that you're going to be until you actually become a parent. And then you think about those. I thought about those things afterwards. And your Grandma Ronnie and Grandma Glow were very, very influential in terms of teaching me and teaching your father, just in terms of the ins and outs of it, at different, where when you guys were at different stages, always offered an opinion because they could.
Because they're
Well,
your
they
mother.
could. They're your mother. But they also were gracious enough to recognize that every child is different and every parent is different. And so it became about like, what are the parenting fundamentals, right? Like Grandma Ronnie was always about, oh my God, every night, schedule, 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 feed, bathe, wrap, rock to sleep. It's true. And I hear that from people that I've, um, interacted with over the years. Everybody says the same thing. Man, that schedule, if you do this consistent and you do that schedule, gosh, everybody gets sleep.
Hmm.
It's a good foundation for all that stuff. But yeah,
So, has your outlook on parenting evolved over the years? And if so, how?
parenting is hard when your child starts becoming into their own. So when your child starts learning how to communicate, learning how to interact, have a relationship with their parents, and then has friends, right? And has a really certain type of relationship with their grandparents. And I think it forces parents to have to evolve the way that they parent. So as you guys got older, it required different things. I think it was very physical at first, but then, as you guys got older, it became, well, it was physical, but because we are driving you around everywhere, but
Hmm.
before you got your license, but it was also very mental because as a parent, you want to celebrate and recognize the type of child and personality that you have, but you also are trying to teach the fundamentals. And so I always say you wear many hats, right? So that's been some of the ways that parenting has changes as, your children get older.
Hmm. Can we talk a little more about like early age, middle age, adult age?
Yes. So
Okay.
early age is definitely, like I said, more physical than mental, but you're really being a teacher of the foundational things. You're their super duper number one confidant, building that trust. And I think middle, like, so what's middle? Middle is like what? Elementary, middle school, or middle school, high school? Like, is that what we're doing? I don't know.
Whatever you want it to be.
Middle is a little more trying to, like I said, celebrate who your child is, their personality, but then also continuing to teach and evolve and parent them. And I think it's literally to be able to like celebrate themselves, but also teach them things like manners. I mean, these are like please and thank you. Um, and being self-aware and aware of others, having relationships with other people, communications, and then as you get a little older, it turns into like safety, like being safe, knowing how it's all that like teaching, parenting for a child to be able to become independent, to be able to live on their own. I mean, so I'm gonna ask you,
Hmm.
what do you think were some of the key lessons in the middle part of parenting,
From
being
my
on the other side?
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say like the things that stick out to me in terms of what I define as your fundamentals are, I remember you were like, always be honest. I will be more upset if you lie rather than if you tell the truth. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I was, and like, I don't lie a lot right now, like now, because I've built that
Mm-hmm.
habit from an early point. But I just remember you instilling that in us of like, lying gets you nowhere, and you have to then like continue to lie to cover up the other lie, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just like never gonna get you what you are looking for. So
Right.
honesty was a big piece of that. You've taught me to always be well-rounded, and that has served me very well throughout my life to like be curious and want to learn like the ins and outs of things, and being able to have skills in different areas and kind of bring everything together. I mean, I studied journalism, and that's pretty much what you need to do. You have to be a jack of all trades in that field. So, and now farming, same thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a big one too. And I do remember you sharing like if a relationship is not easy, it's probably not working out.
Yeah. Probably, yeah, if a relationship is not easy, then it's not. And it's okay. Like
Right. Right. Yeah.
it's not gonna
And
work out.
yeah, and I think too, like I get overwhelmed easily, and I just know, and even to this day, you still always tell me to just take one thing at a time. And
Yeah.
so I always,
Well, let's talk about that because
okay.
remember the other day, I think you're having one of those moments. Actually, it reminds me, I know. Well, we all have those moments. I do it to you
Mm-hmm.
too. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's reciprocated
Right.
for sure. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter, parent or child. But, I probably a couple weeks ago, so Mel Robbins is really like popular right now. I know for
Mm-hmm.
the whole Let Them book and concept, and she's really heavy on podcasts and having guests on or whatever. She has some really interesting guests, but I saw one of those shorts that she did, and it was about parenting, and I forget who her guest was, but the snippet, she made a quote that I stuck with me, and it reminds me based off of this topic. She said, the best thing you can do as a parent when you're having a talk with your child is to ask if they want you to just listen or do they want your opinion. And I thought that that was so interesting because situationally, to your point,
Mm-hmm.
when you know that as your relationship as you parent and as your child gets older, what they need from you changes, and it becomes situational, right? Because if you did a good job, then they're off on their own, they're independent or whatnot, and if you did a really good job, the communication is great or whatnot. But what she said is so pivotal because it's kind of like it's so simple. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
pause. Megan, do you want me to listen, just listen, or do you want my opinion? Because it's not about what I'm going to say next after I listen to you. It's about, it gives you the understanding and the respect that I'm going to do whatever you want. I'm going to do, like, I'm going to parent and I'm going to listen to you, and I'm either going to just listen or I'm going to weigh in afterwards, but it's up to you.
Hmm.
And I think that's super powerful.
Yeah. It's a nice like mindset shift, I think. Like
Hmm.
when you're in the moment, and then it also comes back to intentionality. Like what is the intention of the conversation?
Well, the other thing is too, so now I'm going to leap over to, we can't, as a parent, you can't fix everything for your child. You can't. And that's the most heartbreaking thing. So personally and on the inside as a parent, it's crushing. But it's the only way to learn new lessons as a child. And I had to learn that too as a parent. Oh gosh, I wanted to fix everything. I still do it in some ways. Like, you'll call and you'll be like, "Bah, I probably should take Mel Robbins' advice, next time that happens, and basically just say, do you want me to listen or do you want my opinion?"
Right, right.
And I should probably say, and this is probably a reminder that I can't fix it.
Well, it's funny because I do notice like when you do try to like swoop in and give solutions, and that's great. But I think there have been conversations more recently where I'm like, Mom, I'm not looking for a solution.
Right.
Sometimes I just need you to say, that sucks, and just listen.
And I can do that too. I just need, yeah, and you kind of guide me. So it's kind of the same thing. It's, I don't offer, you actually tell me.
Right, right. Sometimes as the child,
Hmm.
take it upon yourself to just voice that need.
Right.
And that's taken a while for me to do as well, to voice what I need from other people. But
Yep. Yep.
working on
So
it.
another, like, kind of on the other side of that is parenting, whether it's in the middle or as an adult. I think it's very easy to get caught up in trying to be or wanting to be your child's BFF. And so I had to remind myself constantly, I am not their BFF. I'm not their BFF. I can't be their BFF. I'm their mom. I'm their mom first. So I always try to keep that in the forefront. I mean, on occasion, I think I've declared over the years, like, I'm a fun mom.
No, cool mom. I'm a
Oh, I'm
cool
sorry. I'm a
mom.
cool mom. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
cool mom. But I can be a cool mom, but I can't be the BFF. And I
Well,
have,
why? Well, why?
because I still think that it's a period where I'm still parenting. I was still parenting. Like, do I think I'm going to be your BFF eventually? Yeah. I mean, I think of times that
You're saying that like
grandma,
we aren't now.
but we are. But it's from like, but it's from a cool mom perspective. It's not from a. There's still that mother when you're in your middle and like beginning of like being older parenting. It's just setting the groundwork. Like, I don't think anything good comes. I think if you try to be your child's BFF, you're missing out on parenting lessons that you can give to your child in that time frame.
How so?
So think about, I don't know, like just the whole house party thing, like people like having friends over, um, and then things can get wishy-washy. Like, let's talk about your high school graduation party. That was awesome. It was a great party. It was awesome. Super easy. You had your friend, you got so mad at me because I wouldn't let you guys have even like a half a cup of beer or whatever. And you're like, "Mom, it's my graduation, and I was like, I know. And that was like a heart, like,
Hmm.
but if I was a BFF, I'd be like, yeah, sure, do it. Like,
Hmm.
I still think that it wasn't, it was parenting, but it was also liability. It was also like, like the start of something that could have like just swung into something that could turn out so bad, and
Hmm.
like that stuff.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
Well, we still would go shopping and do
Oh, yes.
BFF things, right?
Hmm. Nordstrom loved us. We loved the dressing rooms at Nordstrom. That whole store and the whole concept of like, shopping, the best.
Yeah.
So nice. But it wasn't because they pampered you. It was because they actually had a conversation with you. They actually
Right.
wanted to help you. I just love that whole service model.
Yeah, it is nice. And quickly learned that we don't necessarily have the same taste in clothes. Sometimes we
Oh my
do,
God, complete opposite.
but most times we didn't. And you would hold things up and you'd be like, "Do you like this? Do you like that?" And I'd be like, "It's different."
Or
That's right.
I knew no was it's okay.
Yeah. But that's, has also evolved over the years.
Yeah. So let's talk about if you don't have, so some of the things like if you don't have a human. So some people are
Mm-hmm.
dog parents. Some people are, you actually, my friend, were a cat parent for a
Mm-hmm.
very short period of time. Shall we tell everybody? Oh my gosh. We had a cat, Sorella.
Mm-hmm.
Sorella, when we moved, gosh, what was she, 17?
18.
18. 18. And Megan graciously, honestly, we thought that she wasn't going to live by the time we moved. And like she wouldn't be alive by the time we
Mm-hmm.
moved. Sadly, nope, she was kicking it, kicking on. And
Mm-hmm.
so Megan graciously said, no, I'll take the cat. Okay. That was a big move. Connecticut to Rhode Island.
Well,
It
Massachusetts,
was
but
here, Massachusetts. Yeah, it was with you there, Massachusetts. But for an 18-year-old cat,
I
going
know.
going from like a 2,200 square foot home, technically three levels because Sorella loved to stay in the cellar, to your place, a
Yeah.
one bedroom apartment
Mm-hmm.
on one floor. That's a big move.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a taste of parenting because you had to take her to the vet. She just didn't talk back to you.
Yeah, I think having an animal really is another kind of taste of the lifestyle of just being, I think just being responsible of another being or animal.
Hmm.
But yeah, and I think, I don't know, when I was parenting Relly,
Hmm.
my priority for her, because of the stage of life she was in, and she had kidney failure, for if we didn't mention that.
Hmm.
She was 18 with kidney failure, so she just like slept a lot. But for me, it was as long as she's using the bathroom and eating her food and drinking her water, I can't do much. All I can
Right.
do is just make sure she's comfortable.
Hmm.
So that's what I focused on. And then when it came to a point where she declined pretty rapidly, like I had to make that decision to put her down. And it just got to the point where the boundary I had set,
Hmm.
she was crossing that line, so I had to do something and I had to make that call. And it takes a lot, like you are responsible for that
Hmm.
and to make that decision. That was a huge
Yeah.
lesson for me of like owning it. That's another lesson you taught me. Own it.
What's that? Oh my God, own it.
Yeah,
Just own it.
you were always
Listen,
like, just
own
own it.
it. You can
Yeah.
own it. You can acknowledge and move on. But that's a good lesson,
It's such a good
personally
lesson.
and professionally,
Yes.
because it's kind of like, oh, that stinks. Like, own it. Okay. Or acknowledge it and move on. Okay.
Well, I think it's good because a lot of people nowadays don't take accountability. And the amount of people I've run into, especially in my career, that just want to blame other people or not take
Yeah.
ownership. Like I've experienced that a lot, unfortunately, but I always go back to what you said when we were younger.
Hmm.
Just own it. And it kind of goes back to like just being honest too,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't own
We're
it,
not perfect.
right, but if you don't own it, it's just going to it's going to like keep spiraling and like build into something else, right? Because you're going to have to like blame other things.
Hmm.
Similar to if you tell a lie, you're going to have to keep lying to like cover it up, you know? So it's almost like if you just own it, if you're just honest, like you nip it in the bud and people, I think it just builds respect, honestly,
Hmm.
in the long run. So, yeah,
Own it.
but yeah, I don't know. Let's just end maybe with, and you kind of mentioned this, but like, what is your biggest parenting lesson?
You have to always parent with your heart and your mind. You can't parent with just one. You have to do both.
What does that look like?
Parents are impressionable. Kids or children learn so much, verbal and nonverbal, from their parents. And so always using your heart and your mind consistently, I think to your point, it teaches kids to be well-rounded, um, and be honest and own it.
I remembered
And
one more. Assume
what?
positive intent.
Hmm.
That was a big one.
That was a big one. I still have to remind myself every day for in certain situations. That is like an ongoing, that's not just a parenting thing, that's like a personal thing, like a
Mm-hmm.
personal mantra. Um, is that or yeah, assume positive intent or don't assume negative intent. Same thing. It's hard to do. It's hard to do sometimes. But yes, yes. And that always helps.
Cool.
Hmm.
Well, thanks for sharing all of.
Yeah, I would love to hear in the comments from folks if their thoughts. I'm all for, I don't think that my opinions are the norm either. So any other lessons people want to share,
Yeah,
good
we're
ones.
we're all ears.
Yes.
And everyone's experiences are different too. So that'll be really cool to see what
Yep,
people share.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mom.
Thanks for sharing your cucumbers.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing your light with your yellow top, your bright yellow top.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we will catch you guys in another episode. Thanks so much for joining us. Share the show, comment. We want to hear from you. But until next time,
Call your mother.
call your mother. Bye.
Bye.